if I'm selling to you, this is an adversarial physical construct, right? But if I flip open my iPad and I start drawing a model on it with you, that's you looking at the model, me looking at the model. Yeah, this is us working on this thing,
right,
rather than me working on you.
Right, exactly.
It changes the entire dynamic, and it's the coaching triad.
We're at the table, not across from the table.
Correct.
Right. Yeah.
And it just changes everything. So I've got people that we've built models with who have come to me after and gone, I forgot the whole model. I forgot the whole model. Now, I always say to people, they will work even if you mess them up, because they do, right? I forgot the whole model. I was in the middle of the sale and I couldn't remember what was in all the spaces, because they work best when you draw by hand. We've tested that. Way better than PowerPoint or anything else. Drawing on paper, on an iPad, on a napkin works way better.
Right. Well, they say the body can't go anywhere that the mind hasn't already been, right?
Of course.
You're taking them into the place you
they
want
sink
them to
into
go
it.
With that. That's really good.
When they live into the model. So, what, there's numbers of clients, I forgot the model. What'd you do? Well, I just started asking them what they'd call that. And they went, oh, it's such and such. Well, that's exactly right. when the customers populated the model, they can't argue with themselves now. They can't
is literally their model.
Yeah. So it's just open up, and the more we got into it, the more we started testing the science of it. And I'm a researcher. There's a lot of underlying, Daniel Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow, The Power of Three. The Genius model has some of Simon Sinek's circles in there. I don't totally agree with that, with all respect, but some of Simon Sinek's circles in there, and Jim Collins' hedgehog concept. There's a whole lot of stuff underneath it that I don't talk to people about, chaos theory, but it's just all living there in this really simple thing that people can use. Yeah.
So you have used choreography quite a few times.
Lots.
Tell us what that means and why is it better than something else?
Yeah. So scripting's rehearsed, and scripting from a sales perspective over the years has defaulted into, here's the script and follow it, right? And what immediately happens when people are following a script is they lose authenticity and tonality. And unless they're exceptionally good, the salesperson, the prospect can hear that. They can hear that it's a script. And so what you find is that people who are great at sales and using scripts will at some point go off script.
Sure.
And so as we built the models out, and as we this whole system, this whole kind of technology of models thinking emerged for us, the buyers made the decision before they meet you. They are already interested in what you do, and they just need you to justify it for them, or they're resistant. And mostly we're hardwired for resistance. And so you've got to jump them to your green line.
I was going to say, what I understand from copy and persuasion is that really people are looking for the moment to disconnect.
Correct.
And say no, not looking for the moment to say yes.
Correct. So we kind of unfolded this concept of the punchline. In great comedy, the punchline is impossible to resist. They drop the punchline and everyone bursts into laughter. That really started to wax my mind when I first started thinking about this. A great comedian uses the rhythm of three and the laws of three and all this, and a joke is really just a setup, punchline. And the punchline is delivered and everyone bursts out laughing, right? So in an instant, their resistance to the joke has flipped and been replaced with acceptance to the joke. And it happened like that, right? And the reason most punchlines work really well is because usually in great comedy, the punchline is an absurd expression of truth. We've all lived it, or we've all seen it, or we've all, it's an absurd expression of truth. Magic is set up, but magic is mechanical and scientific. So with magic, if the stage is out there, the people in front of me can't see anything past my arms if I hold them up like this. So I can do anything I like back here to set up. And I want that visual moment where they go, wow, because it's incontestable. So the punchline is what I call the incontestable moment of truth. I want the buyer to reach this incontestable moment of truth where in their mind they're going I don't know what this is going to cost, but we really want it.
I can afford it.
and we're going to have to figure out what we need to do or we're going to go without, rather than okay, I'm going to make a decision whether I want this or not. That's not the right decision to be getting the buyer to make. The decision we want to get the buyer to make is, I already know I want this. Question is, can I afford this?
Right.
Or am I going to have to go without? And most people will find a way to afford rather than go without.
Sure.
And so choreography is this process of having a pathway or a setup that allows you to be entirely adaptive within that and bring people into the conversation, have them contribute to the conversation. Facilitation is the flexibility of not needing a script, just being able to have a chat. So I can draw a model and let you take whole chunks of conversation, but the model's going to bring me back to where I need to be for the pathway, for the setup. And then every model has certain punchlines. So what happens with a model, a great model, most people sell a concept. Context is what sells everything. So context gives everything meaning. If I've got a business that's absolutely tanking and I know it's our conversion rate and I see someone who can absolutely smash conversion rates, that context makes that an unavoidable necessity for me. But if my business is doing pretty great and someone's selling, you know, a system that can smash conversion rate, it's maybe interesting, it's maybe not. I've got other priorities. Context gives everything meaning. And most people are selling at concept level, not context level. And we deliberately design models so they always carry context and concept together. So the buyer is always understanding concept, you know, relative to context.
Could you give me an example of that in anything that you've done, just so we can kind of bring it from the ethereal into an application of the context concept?
So for dentists, dentists struggle to sell, but so much of what they do, the value of what they do is in the ambiguity.
Right.
And so someone will go to a dentist with a toothache maybe, and they just, you know, the context is they actually just want the pain to go away.
Now, how do you define context? How do you define it?
Well, context, so if there's kind of 4 levels of thinking.
Okay.
Context is the overarching framework of why. Why does this matter? Concept is what is it? And then content is how do we do it?
Okay.
There's a 4th level of thought, which is critical that a lot of people don't think about, and that is contrast.
Okay.
It's equally important to understand what it's not. Or what are we not going to do?
Right.
And that releases pressure a lot of times. So in the patient's view, they're coming to the dentist with a bad toothache. Their context is pain. That's why they're there. And I need you to make the pain go away. Well, we could do a temporary, you know, you've a filling's fallen out and we need to do a temporary filling. And then you can come back and we do the proper filling. They'll probably get the temporary filling and not come back because the context now has been served, it's gone away.
Got it.
The dentist is selling a concept of a temporary filling, then we need to get you back in and put a crown on that thing, right? Which is going to cost more. A lot of people will just go with the temporary filling and hope that lasts because the context of pain has gone away. But the dentist has 3 contexts. So there are 3 primary types of value, contextual value. We fix, we prevent, or we improve. If you think about what you do, everything almost fits into those 3 things. So the dentist fixes pain, prevents unhealthy teeth, and improves cosmetic dentistry or appearance. So a patient comes in and says, I've got a bad toothache, can you fix it? Dentist says, of course I can. I do 3 things. I fix pain. I've got a professional responsibility to make sure your teeth are healthy. And, you know, a lot of people have a secret wish about an appearance, something about their teeth they'd like to improve in terms of the appearance, but let's not worry about that today. Contrast. Most people with a complex product are selling at a context that is higher than the buyer is at. The buyer's got an immediacy context. The seller's got a quality context, and you've got to bridge the contextual gap. And what most people are doing is hoping their concept is going to bridge the contextual gap, but it actually doesn't.
And the concept in this case was?
Well, the concept is 3 things. Let's fix your tooth properly, put a crown on it, get you into a pattern with us. And the other concept that's sitting there, which you know about now, but we don't have to talk about right now, is there might be something about your teeth you'd like to change in terms of the appearance.
Okay.
So we're going to do some cosmetic dentistry at some point. So every model carries context and concept in it so that, because it's usually the contextual picture that is that, incontestable truth for the buyer.
Right.